So, hello, awesome humans, and welcome to episode 2 of Charity Island Discs. We're back. No one went to prison. No cease and desist notices. So here we are with episode 2. For those of you who haven't seen episode 1, what we're trying to do here really is just to connect a bit better and to connect to the great and the good in the sector and really get behind the sort of LinkedIn profiles of the people we love and connect to the humanity of that person. And what better way to do that than through music? As always, a massive shout out to Simon and Nikki from Fundraising Everywhere for making this happen. If it was left to me, it would have just been a nice idea, but they're the guys who are actually making this live. Also want to do a big shout out to all of the people who have sent really positive feedback about episode 1. We're absolutely blown away by how well it was received, and that really spurred us on to do another episode and maybe more after that. So it's my great pleasure to introduce our second guest for episode 2, and that is the one and the only Dana Kohava Segal.
Woo! Hey! I'm so happy to be here.
The legend, the daughter of Steven Segal, so I've heard.
Oh my gosh. Man, that's been haunting me for a long time.
Dana has provided a bio, which I'm just going to read out verbatim because it's absolutely awesome. So Dana is a fundraising and management consultant. When she isn't on Twitter, she's raising big chunks of cash monies and also training people up in how to raise it. Pre-coronavirus, her work was taking her all over the globe to awesome places like Zimbabwe, Cuba, Ghana, and Australia. I want your gig, mate. During COVID, her work has taken her mostly to her Google Chromebook, where she's been staying productive by raising the best part of £570,000 for awesome organisations since the start of lockdown, and putting together hashtag Arts Summit, the first virtual fundraising summit for arts, culture, and heritage professionals. So it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Dana. Welcome, mate.
Welcome, mate. So good to be here, and thank you for making this awesome thing happen. It's great. I loved the first episode. I'm so chuffed to be on it.
It's good to have you on. So how have you found choosing the discs? Easy?
It was very hard. It's really interesting. It's really hard because you're kind of working on a few things. You're trying to tell a bit of a story about you. You're trying to find some cool tunes. In my case, it was also not about scaring off people because there's a big chunk of my music taste that most people would go, really? Okay, fine. So I tried, and also I wanted to get a few, fundraising lessons in there because that's the kind of gal I am. So hopefully I've done myself justice, and I'm looking forward to listening to the tunes with everyone today.
Well, we'll see. And just for the great listening public, there are some absolutely exceptional bangers coming your way in the next hour or so. So let's kick it off. What's your first disc, and why have you chosen it?
So, well, a lot of people don't know. They know me professionally. They know me as quite a kind of well put together human. They don't know that I'm a massive metalhead and that I'm a total mosher. In fact, there's like VHS footage of me at like 6 months old headbanging to Iron Maiden. It's that much in my DNA. So I wanted to pick a big metal tune by obviously the amazing Metallica. And I wanted to pick a song that kind of set the tone for the day as well. And one of the lyrics in the song is forever trust in who we are and nothing else matters. And I thought, that really captures the spirit of what you're doing with this, Wayne, and what people like us are trying to do in the sector in terms of creating space for authenticity, inclusion, and good old humanness. So The first disc is Metallica and the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra playing Nothing Else Matters.
Here we go. Sit back, people. This is an absolutely incredible version of an absolute classic. So here we go.
So close, no matter how far. Couldn't be much more from the heart. Forever trust in who we are, and nothing else matters. I never opened myself this way. Life is ours, we live it our way. Hold these words I learned to say, and nothing else matters. Yeah, trust I seek and I find in you. Every day for us something new. My mind for a different you, and nothing else matters. Never care for what you do. Never care for what they know. And I know so close, no matter how far. Couldn't be much more from the heart. Forever trusting who we are, and nothing else matters. Never care for what you do. Never care for what they know. And I know, yeah, that's right.
There we are. The mighty Metallica. Absolutely banging choice. Did you ever see them live?
I saw them live. I saw them live at Reading Festival, and they played this song, and I rang my dad, and I drunkenly cried down the phone to him. I was like, "I love you, Dad," and just held up the phone, and he had no idea what was happening. So it was a great time.
Awesome. I saw Metallica once when I was 15, so it must have been 1990 at Milton Keynes Bowl. Absolutely banging. Okay, so we're off to a flying start. So let's take it back a bit, Dana. Let's talk about where you're from and your childhood. Go.
So I was born in Cork in Ireland, and I grew up in a place called Kilcrea, which was out in the county Cork. If you look at it on Google Maps, there's like 10 houses in the whole of Kilcrea, about 5 of which are like ones that weren't even there when I lived there. So it's just like this really remote place right in the middle of the countryside in Ireland. And there was like, it's so remote that there's like one bus a day that goes past, and it's like a big event. You're like, oh, it's the bus, just proper out in the sticks. So I spent a lot of my childhood just growing up outdoors in that way, in the luscious lands of Ireland. But when I was 5 years old, my granddad, so my dad's dad, passed away. And my dad could never really grieve properly. He was quite far away from his family. My dad's from Israel. All of his family are in Israel. So my mum had this harebrained idea and just went, oh, why don't we go live in Israel for a bit? You can be with your family. It'll be an amazing cultural experience for the girls. Like, they'll get to know that side of their heritage and their upbringing. So we upped sticks and moved to Haifa, which is in the north coast of Israel. Mm-hmm. Not a word of Hebrew on our lips, just landed in the desert. And like, at this point, I was 7. As a kid, you just suddenly arrive at this place that's the complete opposite of what you were used to. And it was all a bit like bonkers. So a total cultural shock, really. A total cultural shock arriving there, but also really cool because I got to meet loads of my friends and family and stuff and connections. So I then grew up there for another 5 years. There's lots to love about growing up in the Middle East: sunshine, incredible food. At the time, or before we moved, it was a time that was moving towards peace. But as we were there, things got pretty heated, and it hit a point where, our safety and for our futures, my parents kind of said, actually, let's get them out. Let's do that. They kind of got sick of us having to do bomb drills at school and learn how to use gas masks. And there were a couple of really tight instances where stuff got a bit hairy. So at that point, they went, it's time to get them somewhere safe and somewhere where they can really, make something for themselves in terms of their lives. So we moved to England when I was 12. So that was my childhood. It's a bit complex, and there's lots of it that was a beautiful experience. There's lots of it that was traumatic, I'm finding out later in life, mate. But, I think it provides me with a real different sense of what life is like, and a cool experience, I think, to bring to people here in the UK as well, as I kind of navigate work and friendships and stuff like that.
Mate, absolutely awesome. And big up the Irish Massive as well. Good to. Okay, so let's talk about second disc. What have you chosen and why have you chosen it?
So the second disc I chose is a disc that I used to spin a lot when I was in those turbulent early teen years. And that is Linkin Park. So I chose this song. Again, I thought it themed really nicely with the Metallica song, because the converse to nothing else matters is, in the end, it doesn't even matter. But this is just an absolute classic and a banger. Everyone knows it. They were a defining band for me in terms of getting my head into metal and new metal and stuff. So I had to give them a space on my desert disc. So this is Linkin Park, In the End.
Let's have it. Bring it.
You guys are amazing. I feel like you guys are getting louder. Are you getting louder? That's good, because we want to hear it right now. Let's go. It starts with one thing, I don't know why. Doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. What watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock ticks life away and it's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. One thing, I don't know why, doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, I designed this rhyme to remind myself how I tried so hard. In spite of the way you were mocking me, acting like I was part of your property, remembering all the times you fought with me, I'm surprised that it got so. Things aren't the way they were before. You wouldn't even recognize me anymore. Not that you knew me back then, but it all comes back to me. You kept everything aside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I put my trust in you, pushed as far as I can go. For all this, there's only one thing you should know. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Amazing. You guys are amazing.
There we are.
Oh,
Linkin Park. I've forgotten how epic and operatic that track is. I'm out of
it's
breath
so
just listening to it.
yeah.
You ever see him live?
I have seen them live. I got really lucky in that. I don't know if you remember, but I can't remember quite what year it was, but the year that they were tearing down the Mean Fiddler and the Astoria in London. There were a couple of bands that just did some final gigs in there, and I managed to catch Linkin Park at the Astoria. And this was like, you know, by the time they were absolutely massive, and that was just such a privilege to be able to see such a huge band in such a tiny venue. It was amazing.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Okay, let's move it on. This is swiftly becoming my favorite question of the whole show. So let's talk about the teenage years and how hard they did or did not hit you.
So teenage years, so as I said, when I was 12, I moved to the UK and my parents moved us to Essex. And that was definitely an experience because I rocked up and on my first day, you know, I got the full treatment. Oh my God, why is your hair like that? Why is your accent like that? What are you wearing? And it was just like a total, you know, straight into that. And I just thought, I'm having none of this. So I dove straight into all the subcultures. And at the time, it was all about the emo kids. So, you know, it all became about going up to London to hang out with other emo kids, connecting on MySpace, you know, MySpace celebrity times. And it was an interesting time to be a teenager because it was it was at a time where the internet was quite innocent and people genuinely just wanted to meet because they fostered connections about stuff that they loved. There was nowhere near as much risk, I think, as there is now. So my teenage years comprised of listening to a lot of angsty music, even angstier than you've heard. Yeah, I mean, music was my lifeline, 100%. So, and then obviously moving into the kind of teens and stuff, gigs turn into clubbing and club nights and hanging out with mates and doing all of that kind of fun stuff. So that was very much my teenage years. School and stuff I did all right at, but then actually I flunked my A-levels because it just turns out it's not a great way for me to learn. It's interesting because I did drama A-level, and I remember flunking a particular paper about a practitioner that I loved, but then when I went to uni and studied it, I got an amazing grade on the paper. So it kind of taught me that, like, just because the education system is a certain way doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means that you learn in a different way. And that's been something I've definitely carried throughout my years as well.
Awesome. Whereabout in Essex were you?
What's that?
Whereabout in Essex were you?
I was in Latin, which is indeed the home of The Only Way is Essex. And there's a few of those people that went to my school and stuff. So it was really the cream of the crop when it came to that type of Essex person. No,
I'm from Southend, so I completely understand running away to subcultures. That's why I hid in art school for 4 years and then
exactly
never went back. Okay.
Survive somehow, mate.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're on to Disc 3. What have you chosen and why?
So it was really hard to pick the best emo tune, basically. But the reason I picked this song is because I thought the title aptly captured the party spirit of my late teens and early 20s. So this is Taking Back Sunday, A Decade Under the Influence.
Come on, let's have it. Roll that disc.
Kept still until the long drive home and slept safe and close to the window.
There we go. Peak angst there, I think.
Man, it's so weird looking back on it. We were convinced that we were just the coolest, as does every subculture, right? But it's just something to... what I'm surprised stuck about the emo generation is skinny jeans, though. A lot of people I know still love a good skinny jean, and that has stood the test of time.
Yeah. Okay, so we've done your turbulent and really exciting childhood. We've done moving to Essex, which I can completely empathise with, and the teenage years and the escaping into subcultures. Totally. We've talked about school and A-levels. Let's talk about first jobs.
So it's interesting with this question because my first job that I ever got, I was 14 years old. So yes, I did work illegally. I worked in like a little local clothes shop, and I've basically been working all the time, part-time, seasonal work since I was 14. Like I've never been out of work. Shops, cafes, call centers, bars, you name it. I used to run a TV station at my university, like really random jobs. But I suppose my first proper job, if you like, was at the Roundhouse in Camden. Cool. So I got a traineeship there out of university and worked there as their youth engagement officer. And my job was to basically look and develop programs that supported some of the young people who don't just live on Primrose Hill, to come in and get to know the studios there and get to engage with some of the projects and programs. So it was a wicked job. And it was the first time I'd been somewhere where I saw an organization that had like roles and departments and stuff like that, right? You're like, oh, there's like this whole system that this stuff works in. Obviously, with hindsight, it's also the time you see some dysfunction and office politics and bureaucracy and red tape and all these things that I didn't know about at the time. I was just enthusiastic and wanting to get stuck in. So that was really my first job. And what happened was I managed to get onto a trainee program that then moved me into their fundraising team. And that's how I kind of got into fundraising. But I know we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Blimey, early adopter to fundraising.
Big style.
So disc number 4, what have you got and why have you chosen it?
So disc number 4, I picked this song because Kendrick Lamar was one of the many favorite artists of mine that I had the chance to see whilst working at the Roundhouse. I got to see some unbelievable music there. The National, Prince. I saw Prince's last ever show. I love Prince. I know how much you love Prince, and he was amazing. The list is long of amazing artists I got the chance to see in all my time working there. But this song for me reminds me of some good times, and it reminds me a little bit of that Robin Hood attitude I had towards fundraising in the early days. So the song is all about these guys going and robbing rich people's houses when they're out and about, and I love it. So this is Kendrick Lamar, Money Trees.
Really excited about this one. Absolute banging choice. Let's listen to it.
Hit that house, like tell me is you with it, yeah bitch. Home invasion was persuasive. From 9 to 5 I know it's vacant, yeah bitch. Dreams of living life like rappers do. Back when condom rappers wasn't cool. They wasn't. Usher Raymond went to tell my bros. Then Usher Raymond let it burn came on. Hot sauce all that not top rhyming, yeah bitch. Park the car, then we start rhyming, yeah bitch. The only thing we had to free our mind. Then freeze that verse when we see dollar signs. You looking like an easy come up, yeah bitch. A silver spoon, I know you come from, yeah bitch. And that's a lifestyle that we never knew. Go at a revenue for the revenue.
Go Holly Berry or hallelujah. Pick your poison, tell me what you doing. Everybody go respect the shooter, but the one in front of the gun lives forever.
The one in front of the gun forever.
And I've been hustling all day, this away say money trees is the perfect place for shade, and that's just how I feel. Nah, $8 might just be a main shit. That's just how I feel. Nah, $8 might say flip on the kids that you game with. That's just how I feel. Nah, $8 might just make that lane switch. That's just how I feel. Nah, $8 might turn to $1 million and we all rich. That's just how I feel.
Dreams of living life like rappers do. Bump that new E40 after school. You know, big ballin' with my homies. Bro Stevens had us thinking rational. Back to reality, we pour, yeah, bitch. Another casualty at war, yeah, bitch. 2 bullets in my Uncle Tony head. He said one day I'll be on tour, yeah, bitch. That Louisburgers never be the same. A Louis Belter never ease that pain. But I'ma purchase when that day is jerking. Pull off at churches with Pirelli skirting. Gang signs out the window, yeah, bitch. Hoping all of them offend you, yeah, bitch. They say your hood is a pot of gold, and we go crash it when nobody's home.
Hollyberry or hallelujah. Pick your poison, tell me what you do. Everybody go respect the shooter, but the one in front of the gun lives forever.
The one in front of the gun forever.
And I've been hustling all day, this away, that away, through canals and alleyways, just to say, money trees is the perfect place for shade, and that's just how I feel. Nah, $8 might just up your main, yeah, that's just how I feel. Nah, $8 might say flicking off that you game with, that's just how I feel. Nah, $8 might just make that lane switch, that's just how I feel. Nah, $8 might turn to $1 million and we all rich, that's just how I feel.
Be the last one out to get this dough. No way, love one of you buckethead swore. No way, hit the streets and we break the code. No way, hit the brakes when they on patrol. No way, be the last one out to get this dough. No way, love one of you buckethead swore. No way, hit the streets and we break the code. No way, hit the brakes when they on patrol. No way.
Magic rock up in them projects where them niggas can pick your pockets. Santa Claus don't miss them stockings. Liquor spilling, pistols popping, baking soda. Ain't no turkey on Thanksgiving. My homeboy just don't. I just hope the Lord forgive him. Pots with me, what residue. Every day I'm hustling. What else is a thug to do when you eat cheese from the government? Gotta put 5 for my daughter and them. Get the stuff up on my way. Got that drum and I got them bands just like a parade. Drop that work up in the bushes. Hope them boys don't see my stash. If they do, tell the truth. This the last time you might see my. From the gardens where the grass ain't cut, them serpents lurking blood. Selling drugs, but it's all good. Broken promises, still your watch and tell you what time it is. Take your J's and tell you to kick it where a falaka is. In the streets with a heater under my dungarees. Dreams of me getting shaded under a money tree.
Hollyberry or hallelujah. Pick your poison, tell me what you do. Everybody go respect the shooter, but the one in front of the gun lives forever.
The one in front of the gun forever.
And I've been hustling all day, this away, that away, through canals and alleyways, just to say, money trees is the perfect place for shade, and that's just how I feel.
There we are, Kendrick Lamar. Quite a divisive character, isn't he? A lot of people, you know, I'm quite old school hip hop, so it took me a long time to come round to Kendrick, but absolutely everyone that I've met who has seen him live just say, that's when you get it. That's when you totally get it.
It's unreal. Like his energy is just unbelievable. I've never seen it. It's so raw, and I just love the way he tells the stories through his music. He's just such an incredible storyteller. Just the little nuances, you feel like you're watching a film when you listen to his tunes. It's just so amazing.
What's the capacity at the Roundhouse? It's not a massive venue, is it?
Yeah, about 3,000. So and a major highlight every year for the time when I was working there, they were hosting the iTunes Festival. So you'd get these massive artists in a 3,000 capacity venue. You know, I'm talking about Britney Spears, Elton John, Justin Timberlake, all that kind of stuff. And it was really exciting because as the fundraising team, you know, it was up to us to like steward and support the people who were lucky enough and good enough to join as members to be able to access some of that. And it was just so amazing. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Cool. Excellent. So now you hinted before the last track of your early adoption and entry into the world of fundraising. So let's talk through your fundraising jobs up until the one that you've got now, which we'll play on the next track. Tell us of your journey.
Gosh, the journey. So as I said, I managed to get on this training program that gave me a kind of fellowship at the Roundhouse for a year. So I got to be this kind of fundraising fellow and just work in all different parts of their fundraising department, which was amazing because, you know, they run big galas, they do amazing trust and foundations work, they have a corporate team, they have individual giving and membership schemes. So I kind of got to see how loads of different ways of working would operate. So that was awesome. And then I stayed there for a little while longer. I did some training while I was on this fellowship, including going on the National Arts Fundraising School. And that's where I first met Bernard Ross, and I now run the school, which is just super exciting. So then after my time at the Roundhouse, I wanted a job that enabled me to kind of like get into a bit of senior leadership positions, do a bit of management, that kind of thing. So I moved to an awesome organisation called Cockpit Arts, who are craft-based incubator based in central London and South London, and they host 160 makers across their 2 sites. Everything from incredible woodworkers to jewelers to weavers, just this incredible range of artisan artists. And my job was to basically help with the sustainability of the organisation. So doing all of their fundraising, all of the earned income and trading activities. So it was a wicked job. So, you know, you get to do basically everything. And when you then become a one-woman team, and actually we end up growing the team afterwards, you learn what to prioritize and not to prioritize really quickly. And you learn how to make the best shortcuts you can with the time that you've got. So I think it really sharpened my skills as a fundraiser to figure out how I prioritize what's worth pursuing, how I can loop people in. So even if I don't have a formal team, I've got an informal team of people to work with. And it was a joy. And after that, I decided to kind of step into the consultancy world because I was missing the idea of working with loads of different causes. And I wanted to work with a bigger range of causes as well beyond the arts. And that's when I got back in touch with Bernard, and that happened. And then some other collaborations happened, which is kind of leading me to where I am today.
Cool. Well, let's pause it there, and then we'll talk a bit more about your consultancy, and then talk about what you're actually doing now. So we're on, unless I'm very much mistaken, disc number 5. What have you chosen and why?
So disc number 5 is Bjrk, and it is human behaviour. And no surprises to why I guessed this. You know, I think as fundraisers, we are fascinated with humans. That's certainly what drives me anyway. And I just love the lines in it. If you ever get close to a human and human behavior, get ready to be confused. And you're just like, that's exactly it. You know, there is no logic to human behavior, yet it's so irresistible. I'm just like, Bjrk, you're just saying my feelings. So this is in honor of us fundraisers who are fascinated by the human condition and human behavior.
Here we go. Bjrk, human behavior. Let's have it.
Definitely
There we are, Bjrk, human behaviour. For people of a certain age as well, you know, like I was banging to the Sugar Babes when they first come out, and I don't really particularly want to live in a world that Bjrk isn't in. So yeah, a big thumbs up from me.
Oh, love her.
Ever get to see her live? I've never seen her live.
I was really fortunate. I got to see her in New York, which was just...
Oh, hello.
It was amazing. I went to the Shed, which is one of the new venues that got opened up in New York. It literally opened like 6 months before lockdown. So I managed to go see her. I think it was in January this year. It was unbelievable. Yeah. At one point, she had this kind of flute that came down from the sky, and it was a big round flute, and 7 women got on and started playing that flute. And it was amazing. But then I was like, wow, that is so not coronavirus friendly anymore.
Yeah, that flute's gathering dust in a cupboard somewhere now.
Exactly.
Cool. So before Bjrk rudely interrupted us, we were talking about your career path, and we got to the point where you just started management consultancy, which you're bloody awesome at. So let's spend some time talking about that journey and the sort of projects that you've historically worked on.
Thank you. It was a funny one, because originally when I first spoke to Bernard about potentially working together, he was obviously interested in me coming on and teaching at the fundraising school. And I said to him, I was like, I'm really interested in working with other causes. You know, do you think you'd have the opportunity to put me in on some consultancy work that you're doing? And he sort of rightly was like, let's see how you do first, and whoa. In terms of an arrangement. And I mean, he threw me into some situations, you know. It was, you know, 1 minute he was like, right, you're going to Madrid in a week because you've got to go present at a UNICEF individual giving conference, you know, go run this thing with MSF, go, you know. And it was an amazing thing, because I felt like I got to really learn on the job. I didn't have to come with buckets of expertise. I just came with curiosity, clarity, and just like a strong sense of what the vision of the organization was, and just be able to guide them strategically to that point, facilitate, consult with people. It's just what I love doing, basically. So got the chance to work on some really, really cool stuff. And it's been brilliant taking on the National Arts Fundraising School as well, and just upskilling cultural fundraisers and how to do things really well. So yeah, it's a joyous position, and I really love my work.
Fantastic. Awesome stuff. So we're on to disc number 6. What are you going to hit us with now, and why?
So I'm going to share the next disc with you. It's called Cause Equals Time by a band called Broken Social Scene. They're an amazing band from Canada, and I, again, had the chance to see them live. They're just unreal. Reason I picked this disc is because, you know, as cause-based people, as cause-based organizations, I just wanted to play on that pun. But I also love it. I love that there's a line in the song, they all want to love the cause because they all need to be the cause. And I think that just totally is the message that most of us are telling people all the time as strategists and consultants, right, Wayne? It's like, let people own it. Let people be part of creating the solution to the problems. So this is Cause Equals Time by Broken Social Scene.
Here we go. A cracking tune and a free bit of strategic consultancy there. Okay, let's roll.
You come in, check my time. cause. They all need to be the cause. They all want to dream a cause. They all need to fuck the cause.
There we go. That's a completely new one on me. I think I know the name just from flyers and stuff, but never heard that tune, never heard that band before.
If you have the chance, check them out live. They basically grow, so they can be anything from like an 8-piece band to a 16-piece band. They have these kind of members who drop in and out. But explore the back catalogue. It is just amazing, beautiful, post-rocky goodness.
Nice. Post-rocky goodness. What more could you want? Cool. So you've taken us on a massive intercontinental journey with your life, which has been brilliant. Taking us through your childhood, teenage years, your jobs, entry into charity sector, all the good work that you've done up until now. So where are you now? What are you currently doing?
So it was, yeah. Should we do that bit again? Sorry. I just cut you off. I was like, yeah, wait, I'm going to talk now.
No, let's keep it all in. Keep going.
No. Simon, if you don't edit this out, I'll be very upset. So just before lockdown happened, what really began to thrive for me was the fact that my work really started to go international. You know, it wasn't just me flying off on fun holidays and exploring the world. Like, my work was taking me there. And in the last kind of 18 months, I had the chance to go to Ghana, Zimbabwe, Cuba, South Africa, just such an amazing range of places. And I think one of the major highlights from my last year was that trip to Cuba. I had the opportunity to take all of the skills that I'd learned to date to work with the Ministry of Culture in Cuba to basically do some capacity building for their fundraising activities so that they could be really competitive on the international market when it comes to UN funding and EU funding for their cultural programs. So it was an amazing week of my life, probably one of the best.
Wow.
To be able to get up and train people in Cuba, give them access to knowledge that to some of us seems really obvious, but to some people who don't have access to that is just totally invaluable, was just unbelievable. And you know, given that we're all a bit stuck at home still, I just wanted to bring a little slice of Havana with the next song. So hence my choice.
So what have we got? Hit us with it.
We have Buena Vista Social Club, Chan Chan, of course.
Nice. Well, let's have a listen to that.
Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. Que te tengo, no te lo puedo negar. Se me sale la babita, yo no lo puedo evitar. Cuando Juanica y Chan Chan en el mar servían arena, como sacudía el jibe, a Chan Chan le daba pena. Quiero sentar en aquel tronco que veo y así no puedo llegar. De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. Llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cerro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto, voy para Mayarí.
Well, there we are. One of these, the social club. My now wife made me take her to Cuba for her 40th birthday because she just wanted to avoid everyone in this entire continent. And yeah, it's the best experience of my life. I proposed to my wife in Cuba, so yeah, it's a special. It's an amazing place, isn't it?
It's just stunning, isn't it? And it's. What they've done with it, you know, despite all the challenges that have been put upon them, what they do, how they live, their values, their culture, it's just unbelievable. Amazing place.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we are. We're completely up to date. So Dana, what does the future hold for you?
Oh, what a good question. What does the future hold for any of us?
Personally and professionally. Yeah.
I mean, what I would say for sure, there's definitely some definite mores for me. The first is more action. You know, I love being in rooms. I love consulting, but I also love to raise money. I love to mobilize people. So more of that. Definitely want to get behind more people-powered projects. I've been very fortunate to work with some of the biggest charities in our sector, but I'm really interested in those grassroots organizations, those movements, those campaigns. How can we support social justice-based activities that sit outside of the traditional charitable model? A bit more working with people who've got lived experience. I think I've, you know, now at this point in my life been reflecting a lot on my experiences as a child, recognizing myself as a migrant in this country, starting to understand that relationship with myself, and therefore extending the experience and wanting to prioritize working with people who have lived experiences of the social injustices that they're trying to correct. And basically more transformational change for the world. I love that we can just sit here and record this digitally, that we can bond in this way, that everyone can be doing the chat in the box. Let's have more big change that makes things more accessible and better, pretty please.
Mate, you are preaching to the choir here. And what about personally, outside of work?
Personally, outside of work, so I've just taken on one of my biggest projects to date, which is continuing the legacy of a 150-foot, 25 years organic allotment, which is going to be absolutely awesome.
That's big. That's big.
It's huge. It's so big. So basically, anytime I'm not going to be on my Google Chromebook, I'm going to be hoeing some weeds.
Nice.
Project's
coming your way soon. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Sounds great.
So more growth, both in the earth and in the sector.
Which brings us on to our final choice. What have you got up your sleeve and why?
So I wanted to leave everyone with a little bit of a kind of a song for change and a bit of a call to action, because like, hello, I'm a fundraiser. This song is sentimental and nostalgic. It's called The Way It's Always Been by Brandon Flowers, who has some incredible tunes in his solo repertoire outside of the Killers. And this one, I think, captures something really beautiful for me about the idea of wanting more from life, more from society, more from the people and the systems around us. So it's kind of a melancholy tune, but it's one that I would hope inspires people to say, we don't just have to keep things the way that they are, we can change things.
Brilliant. So, charity sector, prepare to be inspired with Brandon Flowers.
They shut down the Golden Sahara Hotel. Jessica says it won't be long till they blow it all to hell. She's standing in the front yard, cut off some skin. Me and her brother, we've been friends since I can't remember when. And ain't that the way it's always been? Everybody sitting around waiting for the sun to come again. They shifted the chemical plant, a white wedding dress. I wake up every morning and I wonder if I'm gonna pass the test. Try to live up to what she's got in mind. Sometimes the pressure's so heavy, I feel like leaving it all behind. And ain't that the way that it's always been? Laying low just long enough for the dust to settle down. The black and the white, the thick and the thin, hoping that he's really got the power to save us from these sins. Everybody's sitting around waiting for the sun to come again. I took a long walk yesterday to a field where I used to play. I saw myself a corner of my mind. I was 12 years old and blind, with a big wheel in the grind.
Brandon Flowers. I need to tell you a little story in that I've not listened to any of his solo stuff, and I'm quite ambivalent about The Killers, to be honest. And when this track came across, and then the order, you had it as your last one, and I was thinking, oh, are we going to go out with a bang here? I listened to it and cried my eyes out. It's beautiful.
I know.
The middle eight just got me. It's really sourced, isn't it? So yeah,
it is unreal. Yeah, he tapped into something really special with this one, and there's a couple of other songs on that album, The Desired Effect, which are just heartbreakingly beautiful.
Cool. I'll be investigating the rest of that back catalogue. So you've done all your choices as per this completely original format that's never been tried anywhere else at all. There's a few other bits and bobs. So you're allowed a book on your desert island. What have you chosen?
So I really struggled with this. I decided that rather than taking a pre-written book, I'm going to take a blank book and I'm going to write a story.
Nice.
Curveball.
Is that allowed? Let me just check the lexicon of rule. Yeah, you can have that. You can have that.
Thank goodness.
Any idea what the book would be about, or are you just going to go completely blind?
I think I'm just going to go check out the island and just have a learn and tell some stories, probably. Yeah.
Mate, that says a lot about you and a lot of things that I like about you. Good choice. Okay, so your luxury item did make me piss myself. So for the rest of the listening public, what would you like to bring with you?
So my luxury item is hummus. And the reason for this is because, right, I grew up in the Middle East, right? Hummus is a sacred thing there. And it's specifically a hummus that I want, which is like a bottomless vat of hummus from a guy called Saeed, who operates up in Acre, which is like the old port near Haifa. And the reason that I picked this is because when I first moved to the UK, and I saw people in the supermarkets getting a little plastic pot of grainy chickpea things and dunking carrots in it, I was just distraught. I was like, what is this thing? And everyone was like, it's hummus. And I was like, this is not hummus. You don't understand what hummus actually is. So just for the sake of making sure that whatever island I land on, they have access to, and I have access to the best hummus that I know, which currently is in Acre. So it would be a bottomless vat of Saeed's hummus specifically.
Mate, you've got it. Absolutely. And the final kind of question, which is the one that almost destroyed my very long-term relationship with Leslie Pinder when I asked her it, is that what of those 8 tracks, if you could only choose one, which one would it be?
Oh man.
Don't you start.
What's that?
Don't you start. Yeah, I need an answer.
If I was going to pick one, because I'm still fascinated by it, because I'm still trying to understand it, it would be Human Behaviour by Bjrk. Yay!
Excellent choice. So thank you so much, Dana, for being so awesome. I think I speak on behalf of not only everyone that I know, but the vast majority of the sector, that the sector is a much better place with you in it. And I'm proud to have you as an ally and a friend. So thank you so much for being our second guest on Desert Charity Island Discs. And can we do a double thumbs? Speak soon, mate. Thank you.
Speak soon, mate.
Bye, everyone. Keep listening, keep connecting, and keep being awesome. Cheers. Bye now.
Thank you.